Today we'll be sharing some of our best money-saving tips for your Walt Disney World trip. Hello and welcome to the Let's Go to Disney podcast. I'm Oliver.
And I'm Lucy.
Today is Sunday, March 31st, and you're listening to episode 29, Best Money-Saving Tips for Walt Disney World. Before we get into today's main topic, here's what's going on in the parks right now. The biggest news of the week came from Universal Orlando. On Monday, Universal's social media pages shared a cryptic message with the dates of March 28th. And sure enough, on the 28th, they revealed major details about one of Epic Universe's lands, which is How to Train Your Dragon, Isle of Berk. There will be a new coaster named Hiccup's Wing Gliders, which will be a fun coaster that will have you feeling like you're flying with dragons. This will have a 40-inch height requirement. There will be a new live stage show named The Untrainable Dragon featuring the characters from the franchise, Hiccup, Toothless, Gobber, and Astrid. It'll include family-friendly songs and fun. Dragon Racers Rally will be a thrill ride which will have you doing maneuvers in the air on a spinning arm-style attraction that looks pretty wild. This will have a 48-inch height requirement, so it won't be for the shorter littles. Fire Drill will be a boat ride with mounted water cannons where the aim will be to put out flame-like targets. You'll also be pit against riders in other boats and you may get wet. This looks like a blast and it will not have a height requirement. Viking Training Camp will be a fun and vibrant interactive play area for the littles. It'll feature several areas to explore as well as slides and other fun activities. Mead Hall will be a massive quick service location with theming fit for Vikings. It'll feature fish, sandwiches, desserts, meads, ales, and other assorted options. The land will also feature several merchandise locations. Universal shared a 2-minute long video of a rendering of what the land will look like when it's finished, and it looks phenomenal. What a great idea and concept for a land, and we can't wait to experience it.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. We're very excited about this one.
Absolutely, it looks great. Disney Parks blog shared new details on the first critter encounter that you'll experience on Tiana's Bayou Adventure. They'll be greeting you with the tune of Gonna Take You There, and you'll see Bealia the beaver, Gritty the rabbit, Bo the opossum, Apollo the raccoon, Rufus the turtle, and Timoleon the otter. Also, Imagineers have been testing the ride vehicles, and more walls are coming down. All signs are looking good for the summer opening. We're not so secretly hoping for annual pass holder previews when we're there in May. Time will tell.
Yes, 100%.
Earth Month is set to kick off right away on April 1st. You'll see some fun limited time treats at Animal Kingdom Lodge, and Disney Springs. Of note, the Honeycomb Mousse from Creature Comforts, the Elephant Cupcake from Pizza Safari, the Raindrop Tart from the Mara Animal Kingdom Lodge, and the Plant in the Boot Petit Cake from Amorette's in Disney Springs all look fun and delicious. With that said, let's get into today's main topic, which is some of our best money-saving tips to help with the cost when you're planning and executing your Walt Disney World vacation. It's no secret that Walt Disney World is expensive, and depending on how you plan your vacation, it can range from expensive to outrageously or prohibitively expensive. We've talked about money-saving tips here and there on the podcast, but we wanted today's episode to be a place where you can listen for a bunch of tips all in the same place. Now, it's important to note that while you can definitely find ways to save money, Disney is never going to be a discount vacation.
100% agreed. It is expensive, and there are certain expenses that you just can't get around. So it's important to be mindful of that going in so you're not surprised when you start planning and actually start to see the numbers coming up.
Yeah, agreed. Having said that, there are several ways that you can eliminate certain costs or pay less so that your overall vacation budget is less staggering. Once you kind of wrap your head around the fact that the vacation is going to be expensive, you can then narrow down a more specific budget, and then there's a big range between vacation budgets after that.
Absolutely. Now, with all that said, we'll give you our best money-saving tips, which could add up to hundreds, if not thousands of dollars saved over the course of your entire vacation, which everybody likes that.
Yep.
So how many of these things, if any, you choose to apply to your vacation is completely up to you and your party, but the sweet spot likely lies somewhere in the middle, where you are more budget conscious in certain aspects so that you can splurge on a couple of other things that are really important to you. So let's get into it.
Yeah, 100%. So number one, use credit card rewards and or savings discounts if you have them. So one way to really save on your vacations is to use your credit card benefits to your advantage. For us personally, we have 2 credit cards that give us major airline benefits, such as the ability to book flights with points, buddy vouchers, where if you buy a ticket, you get another ticket for a majorly discounted rate, free checked luggage, ability to select seats at no additional cost, a few airport lounge passes per year, to name a few. Saving on airfare allows us to travel down to Orlando more often, as airline ticket prices can sometimes be very expensive, especially during the busier travel seasons.
Yes, 100%. I agree with this. I can't remember the last time we paid for a flight full price.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, which is ideal because it's one of the bigger ticket items.
100%.
Yeah. So, of course, some credit cards offer hotel discounts as well. So like Marriott, for example, which you could use to book Swan and Dolphin or Swan Reserve. If you can get discounted nights or free nights, it can certainly reduce the overall cost of your travel budget significantly. The Disney Visa card also gives you certain perks that would save you some money as well. Now, having a credit card or more than one is a very personal choice, and this is not financial advice by any means, but if you have a credit card like this or have been wanting to get one, it's definitely a legitimate way to save anywhere from a little to a lot of money.
Absolutely. We love our visas that help us gain the points. They're perfect for us and our travel lifestyle.
Yeah, 100%.
On a similar note, really think about where you want to stay. As a general principle, and we say principle and not a rule because it doesn't apply to every situation, but it can be cheaper to stay off-site. Between good neighbor hotels, other hotels in the areas, Airbnbs, VRBOs, there's no shortage of off-site options at different price points within driving distance to the parks. There's plenty out there.
Yeah, agreed, 100%.
But it's not actually always cheaper to stay off-site, so it's really important to be aware of your options and do your research. We're going to give you an example. So let's say you're staying at a value resort from somewhere around roughly $200 US a night, and you're looking at another hotel off-site that saves you about $50 per night. Could seem really good. That's obviously very appealing. $50 is $50. And it may very well be, but consider the other costs. You're going to have to rent a car. What's the cost breakdown of that per day? You have to add parking to this because you're going to be staying off site. You're going to have to foot the bill to the tune of about $30 per day per park.
Yeah, 100%. It's not cheap to park at Disney.
No, it's really not. So pay attention to these hidden costs like resort fees and transportation fees. And what it boils down to is just make sure you've done all your research.
Yep.
Don't assume that staying off property will automatically save you money. Really crunch those numbers to see what your best option is.
Yeah, agreed, 100%. And there's a wide range of offsite options. So you have like legit luxury, which would be more expensive than staying on Disney. And then you have way more budget conscious friendly options, which really would save you money. So it's just depending on what you're looking for out of your accommodations, and then you go from there.
Absolutely. We've known a lot of people to do Airbnbs that have a pool with it, which just is super ideal for their family. So it makes sense.
Yep, 100%. So still on a similar topic, and let's not kid ourselves, accommodations is going to be one of, if not the biggest budget item for your trip. So never pay full price for hotels. Once you decide where you're going to stay, don't pay full price. You can almost always find some type of savings. So of course you can take advantage of rewards like we were saying, but many hotel chains will offer certain deals at different times of the year. So check those websites, subscribe to email lists, follow their pages on social media so you can be alerted to new discounts. For Disney hotels, there's almost always a special offer on the go and usually multiple at once.
Yes.
On the Disney World website, toggle to the Places to Stay tab. At the bottom of the options, you'll see a somewhat subtle link to view special offers. Click on that and it'll bring you to the deals that are currently available to book. This will include ticket deals as well, so it's good to keep an eye on those. And right now, you can save up to 30% on rooms at select Disney resorts when you stay 5 nights or longer for most nights between March 25th to July 7th. And we've mentioned this on the podcast before. The wording seems to imply that this only applies to vacations of 5 nights or more. But when you click on View Offer Details, you'll see that this applies to stays as little as 1 night and to as many as 14 nights. So really, have a deep dive on those offers tabs and read the fine print because there's almost always savings to be had. Another great way to save money on accommodations is to rent DVC points. So if you don't know, DVC stands for Disney Vacation Club, and it's essentially Disney's timeshare system. DVC members buy into the program and are allotted a certain amount of points based on their initial purchase. Their purchase is for a home resort where they will have preferential booking at 11 months and 7 months for every other DVC property. For the record, the DVC properties at Disney World are all the deluxe resorts and the newly renovated cabins opening later this summer at Fort Wilderness. Now, why am I talking about this? Well, I'm not telling you to buy into DVC unless you want to, then more power to you. What I am saying is that DVC owners are not always able to use their points. They do have the ability to bank from the previous year or borrow from the following year. But sometimes, if they don't and won't use their points, instead of losing the points in their investment, they rent their points to recoup some of their losses. And here is where you come in. Services like David's DVC Rental or DVC Rental Store connect DVC owners with renters to set up hotel stays at the deluxe resorts for majorly discounted rates. There are some important caveats like very strict cancellation policies, but the savings cannot be ignored. We've rented DVC points in the past from David's DVC, and it's been a breeze of an experience, and we literally saved thousands of dollars versus what we would have paid to pay rack rate direct from Disney. It makes some people nervous, so if you're not comfortable with that, I get it. But if that interests you, we speak from experience. It's a great way to save money and to stay at resorts that you wouldn't otherwise consider due to the cost.
Absolutely. Our trip coming up here will be the second time we rent DVC points. The first time was nerve-wracking. We will fully admit it. We were a little worried. We'd never done it before. That, like Oliver said, their cancellation policy is quite strict, but it went very smoothly. So we have no worries about it doing it this next time.
Yeah, 100%. Like David's doesn't sponsor the show in any way. It's just, it's a legitimate experience that we paid out of pocket with our own money and
saved thousands.
Yeah, literally. It was a breeze. Everything went super well. And we were able to stay at the Poly for a much cheaper rate than we would have paid like booking straight up.
Absolutely. A last really quick point on accommodations is to pay really close attention to deals that are released after you book. So oftentimes people will book their stays, get really excited, and then not think about anything other than planning their itineraries, their outfits, footwear, etc. The more fun stuff is, so to speak, really.
Yep.
But this is especially applicable if you booked your trip really far in advance. Disney will often release resorts discounts much closer to travel dates. So if you booked accommodations and see that there is a better offer that will apply during your stay, call Disney.
Yes, 100%.
And we can't emphasize this enough. Call Disney. They will more than likely be able to apply that discount to your booking, and that could actually save you a little bit of money or a lot of money. So it's definitely worth checking the special offers tab periodically leading up to your trip. This is also where a Disney travel agent could come in very handy if you choose to go that route. They should be monitoring this for you and calling on your behalf to apply any applicable savings to your vacation. So okay, that was a lot about accommodations, but accommodations is really one of the heavy hitters for your trip.
Yep.
But like we said, you'll inevitably spend a lot of time on this, so it's worth spending some time talking and thinking about it.
Yep, agreed.
And researching.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. So when you're looking at travel dates, down seasons are typically less expensive and busier seasons are more expensive. Okay, so that stands to reason. So holidays, spring break, summer break, big events will be more expensive when it comes to resort prices and ticket prices. Genie Plus, individual lightning lanes, everything. Okay, so everything's going to be a little bit more. If you have the flexibility to travel outside of these peak seasons, you'll see resorts, tickets, Genie Plus prices drop, and you can save money here for sure. Also, on a smaller scale, when you travel in the week can also save you some money. So consistently, the most expensive nights when you book a week at Disney is Fridays and Saturdays, sometimes close to $100 more per night. If you can start your stay on a Sunday or Monday through Thursday, you could save a significant amount of money. So the same can be said for date-based tickets. Okay, so these prices vary by day and day of the week. So if you start your tickets on a Monday, for example, it may be cheaper than starting it on a Saturday. Multiply this by many people in your party and a few dollars here and there can really add up. So I don't know about you, but even saving $20, $30, $40 is a win and maybe covers Genie Plus for a couple people for a day.
Absolutely. You can't beat that. Switching gears now with this next point, one of the biggest expenses while at Disney will be the food, inevitably. So like all things Disney, food is extremely expensive. Quick service meals will be several dollars more expensive than your typical quick service meal at your local restaurant. Snacks, sodas, water bottles, everything is several dollars more expensive.
Yep,
a
agreed.
Bottle of Coke, $3 or $4 more for sure.
Yeah, a bottle of water, like $3, $4 more. Easy.
Absolutely. Yep. You'll get similar quality food as your local chain restaurants for more just by virtue of it being on Disney property. And when you consider those in-demand character meals like Cinderella's Royal Table, you're going to be paying near $100 for adults and $50 for kids, which is up near $300 for a family of 4.
Yep.
Now, not all of those restaurants are going to be that steep, but on average, it's going to be more expensive. So how do you save money here? Well, by buying groceries, essentially. If you're staying off property at an Airbnb, for example, you can stop at the local supermarket and buy groceries just like you would at home. You can have breakfast before you leave in the morning and make supper in the evening. By virtue of this alone, you can save hundreds and hundreds of dollars over the course of a few days.
Yep, easy. Absolutely.
100%. And if you're staying on property and you don't have a full kitchen, you can still order groceries and have them delivered. Think services like Instacart, Amazon, Walmart, Kroger, etc. And you can have them delivered right to your resort. You could do cereal or simple toast and peanut butter or something very similar right in your room before you leave for the park day. This is what we do with our kids every single time.
Yep.
Our kids aren't fancy breakfast eaters. Piece of toast works for them every time.
Yep.
Certain resorts are going to have essential items in their merchandise locations such as milk, coffee, cream, bread, cereal, similar items. We've done this before. Like I said, when we have our kids, it just works really well. It's a great money saver.
Yep, agreed, 100%. And on that note, bring food in the parks. Okay, so there's a misconception out there that you can't bring food in the parks, and that's just not true.
It's true. He's right. There is a big misconception about this for some reason.
You can absolutely bring food in the parks, and it can 100% save you a lot of money. You can bring snacks, sandwiches, fruits, veggies. You can bring a small cooler. Caveat here is you can't bring large coolers or loose ice, but most food is fair game. Okay, so you can bring in crackers, similar dry snacks. Good thing to keep for those littles when they're getting hangry. Fruits, you can make something like PB&J sandwiches to have for lunch. Long story short, Kate, you can bring food in the parks. We don't personally do this very often, but we have brought protein bars into the parks to tide us over and dry snacks for the kids to keep them satiated in between meals. So most times when it's me and Lucy, we don't bring anything because some of our favorite things to do in the parks is snack.
It's true.
Right? But snacking in the parks is really expensive. So if your goal is to save money, not buying snacks, but rather bringing in snacks is definitely a good way to save some money.
Yeah, I will say for sure, like when it's just the two of us, we can get away with some smaller snacks, sharing them, and then just get one big meal. So we do kind of save money in that sense because we're not doing 3 meals a day. We're just doing some snacks and then a big meal.
Yeah, agreed. And that's another money saving tip as well. So for example, if you're getting a fresh fruit waffle sandwich from Sleepy Hollow at Magic Kingdom, split that, right? Instead of getting 2, get 1. And
it's
then,
quite large.
Yeah, 100%. And then
the cinnamon buns at Gaston's Tavern.
Yeah, exactly. Split that. They're big,
that.
right? Yeah. That's a good way to save money as well. Plus, it leaves a little extra room so you can snack a little bit more.
I find that we definitely save some money in that sense.
Yeah, for sure.
Do not buy drinks. We don't necessarily mean alcoholic drinks, although this certainly is a very expensive part on Disney property. So if you can eliminate those completely or limit them, you will 100% save some money. But we just mean sodas, water bottles, iced coffees, and similar drinks are going to be super expensive in the parks. And if you're buying multiple a day over several park days, this is going to be a very significant cost. The best way to limit this is if you're like us and you likely like to start your day with a coffee, have one in your room or hotel before you leave for the day and take one with you before you leave. There are coffee makers like Keurigs or coffee pots in their Disney resorts with to-go cups. Aside from this, bring refillable water bottles with you. We like to fill them up the night before and put them in the mini fridge in our hotel room. They are nice and cold in the morning and we drink them on the way into the parks. Then we have them with us for the rest of the day and we fill them up as we need. An awesome new feature that Disney actually recently added to their My Disney Experience app is if you search water bottle refill station in the app, it's going to show you the stations in each park at Disney Springs and actually at the resorts so that you don't have to try and remember where they're located. You can map them at any time. Water bottles hover between $5-6 in the parks, and that's an easy way to save money that adds up over the length of your trip.
Yeah, agreed 100%. Another thing to note here is if you have some kind of discount case, so if you are an annual pass holder or a DVC member, you will qualify for discounts at merchandise locations. So you could buy a water bottle at a merchandise locations. It won't work at like quick service locations, but let's say you pop into one of the merchandise locations, one of the shops wherever you are, say like the Tron gift shop outside of Tron. You buy a water bottle there, you can use your discount to get it at a discounted price, right? So it's still expensive, but it is a way to save money if you absolutely want like a cold water bottle or whatever the case is.
Absolutely.
So next up, when you dine in the parks, one of my favorite tips is to order from the kids menu. So this won't apply at the table service restaurants, meaning you can't order from the kids meal at these restaurants, Kay. You also can't pay child prices for fixed price meals. So it's not like you go to Cinderella's Royal table and be like, I'll only eat a kid's meal, right? So charge me $50, not like 84. That's not a thing, right? It would be nice, but it's not like that. But at every single quick service location, you certainly can, and it's a great way to save money. Portions are typically pretty big on Disney properties, certainly more than most people need. So if you can get away with ordering and eating from the kids' meal, you can 100% do that and save money. Plus, many of the kids' meals are literally smaller versions of the regular meal. So for example, the kids' meal cheeseburger pods from Satuli Canteen in Animal Kingdom is 1 cheeseburger pod instead of 2, but it still comes with the veggie chips, so it's definitely a good option there in my opinion. A great way to save a few dollars, which adds up over time.
Next up, skip the Disney dining plan. So we know this is going to be controversial because we know there's a lot of people that love and swear by the Disney dining plan. And we can see the appeal. You prepay, set and forget, and you don't have to worry about paying for dining when you're on property. It definitely sounds ideal. We get it.
Yep.
So in case you don't know, the Disney dining plan is essentially a way to prepay for your food before your vacation. It's a set price per guest per night of your resort stay, and it gives you credits to use for dining. The quick service plan gives you 2 quick service meals, 1 snack per night, and a resort refillable mug to use during the duration of your stay. The standard dining plan gives you 1 table service meal, 1 quick service meal, and 1 snack per night, and the same resort refillable mug. Now, the cost for this is not cheap. It's important to note that Disney would not be offering this if they weren't going to make money on it. And the way they make money is twofold. One, some people will not use their credits to get the most expensive items to recoup their expenses. And two, people will end up spending more on food than what they would have if they weren't tied into the dining plan. So hear us out. To break even with the dining plan, you have to consistently eat some of the most expensive items on the menus, whether that's table service, quick service, or snacks. Also, if you didn't have the dining plan, would you honestly eat one snack, a full 2 quick service meals, or 1 quick service and 1 table service per person per day? For most people, the answer is no. You can and likely would be purchasing less food and in the end spending less on dining if you paid for it as you went. You can opt for less expensive items and not be worrying if you're making back the difference with what you're eating. In our opinion, it's just not worth it. Having said that, sometimes Disney offers a free dining plan with your vacation package, and that certainly is worth it versus buying a la carte. You would have to weigh that against other available discounts to determine if that's really the best option for you with overall cost.
Yeah, 100%. So the Disney dining plan thing, we know some people love it, but at the end of the day, like Lucy said, it's really hard to recoup that cost. So you have to eat some of the most expensive items on the menu consistently.
And you may not like the most expensive items on the menu.
Or you may not be that hungry, right?
Yeah.
But you're tied into that. You're tied into those meals. And if you don't use those credits, you lose them. You don't get that money back if you have some left at the end, right?
Yeah.
If you don't use them, you lose them, so to speak. And it's not all doom and gloom, right? Again, like we said, we see the appeal. We get why some people would like that, but it's just, to me, it's a hard sell for the full price when you're paying out of pocket. It's a hard sell because it is a lot of food. And to really recoup that loss, you have to consistently eat the most expensive things. And that means snacks too. Like if you spend it on a $2-3 snack, you're not making back that money, right? You need to go like $6-7 on snacks to be able to break even.
Yeah, 100%. Just not worth it for us, but to each his own.
Yeah, 100%. Next up is gift cards. So certain vendors like Sam's Club, Best Buy, among others, will sometimes offer Disney gift cards at a discounted rate. So for example, a $50 gift card for $45. So this can be a good option because if you know you'll be buying tickets, paying for food, you can use Disney gift cards and you're coming out ahead because you technically spent less than you're spending with the card. Another good way to not go overboard on spending is to load Disney gift cards. So for example, if you wanted to limit your kids to say $40 worth of souvenirs, well, you could get them a gift card and that's what they get. No more. Another good use case for this is the festival booths during the various Epcot festivals. So if you load a gift card and commit to not reloading it, you spend what you loaded and no more. Those festival booths add up. We can 100% attest to that. Yes. And that's an option as well. Okay. So now there's a fine line here. You don't want to purchase too many gift cards or put too much on those gift cards where you end up spending more than you would have. But if you can find gift cards at a discount or use them in a way to limit spending, they can certainly be a good option.
Absolutely. It's hard to not want to buy everything. We completely get that. When we went with our kids for the first time, my parents actually gave the kids $40 and that was what they got to use to buy little souvenirs. And it was actually perfect because they had the limit. They knew what they had amount wise. They asked how much certain things were. And they picked their items. Our son still has $10 left over, I do believe, for this next
100%
trip.
He does. He was pretty good, yeah.
On a very similar note to this, consider skipping the souvenirs altogether. I know that sounds weird, but really hear us out. A lot of the merchandise that you're going to see at the Disney stores are very similar items that can be found in regular stores like Target or Walmart. Think apparel, plushes, houseware items, and they will typically be less expensive at those stores. If you go into the merchandise stores knowing this, it can actually be less tempting to spend money on expensive merchandise. You can also order some of the same items on the Disney Store website, and they will often have deals and discounts. So that's something to consider as well. It can be very tempting when you walk into these stores, so be very mindful of that when you visit. Now, we are very much of the belief that it's fun to pick up something while you're on property to commemorate the trip itself. And we completely get that.
100%.
We do it every single time.
Yeah, 100%.
There are some less expensive options that can make great keepsakes without breaking the bank. We like to collect fridge magnets from all the resorts we stay at. And Disney mugs, we're kind of fanatics when it comes to mugs. And we have lots of them at home. But mugs are typically around $20 and the magnets are around $10. So it's a really great way to save some money.
Yeah, 100%. And like Lucy said, in the Disney resort stores, they all have magnets with like the hotel name on them with like a design. So for example, we have one from the Poly and it's a little tiki man, right? So that's on the fridge. We have one from Coronado. We have ones from all over the place, and then mugs. Like, yeah.
A goal is to stay at every resort and get a magnet.
Yeah, get a magnet at every single one. Yeah, exactly. So next up, skip Genie Plus and individual lightning lanes. Now on this point, you might say, what? You guys always talk about Genie Plus and individual lightning lanes. Why would you say not to use it? Okay, so hear us out. Do you need Genie Plus or individual lightning lanes to have a nice trip? No, okay, you don't. Using virtual queues, which are free, and the standby queues, you can ride every attraction in Disney World just with your park ticket. You don't need to buy Genie Plus or individual lightning lanes. These are a significant expense on top of everything else. If Genie Plus is $25 for the day, for a family of 4, that's an extra $100 right there. If you buy an individual lightning lane for Rise of the Resistance, for example, at $20 per person, that's an extra $80 for a family of 4. Multiple that by several park days, and that's several $100s, if not more, over the course of your vacation. Genie Plus and individual lightning lanes will definitely enhance your vacation. There's no doubt about that. It'll mean less waiting in line, more rides ridden, but again, not necessary in any way, shape, or form. A sensible approach, if it's in the budget, is likely to purchase it for some days or some rides, but not all.
Yes, I 100% agree with this. You can still have a great trip without those extra perks. You 100% can. It just takes a little bit of planning.
Yep, 100%.
Next up, skip the park hopper. This is especially true if you are a first-time guest at Walt Disney World and you're doing 4 days or more. Realistically, if it's your first visit, you can spend a full day at each park and you are much less likely to benefit from park hopping. You probably won't even get to see everything you wanted to see in that full park day.
Yeah, exactly.
Plus, you don't want to be enjoying the park and feeling stressed that you have to park hop because you paid for it and you just feel bad not using it. So we suggest taking in parks that you are in, immersing yourself in that atmosphere and not stressing about park hopping. It's an added expense that is certainly not necessary. But now, having said that, if you are in the parks for less time, a weekend, let's say a long weekend, park hopping may make sense. You can do 2 parks per day, and that may make sense for you depending on how you're structuring your vacation. But for the vast majority of guests, especially guests who are the first time visiting the parks or rarely visit, it's a cost that can help you really save.
Yep, I agreed 100%. For our first several vacations, we didn't park hop. We only started park hopping when we became annual pass holders.
Yes.
Yeah. And lastly, consider rest days. So if you're going to be at Disney for 4 days or more, work in a rest day where you don't go in the parks, okay? So you don't need to be in the parks every single day, and you don't need to buy extra days for the days that you won't be in the parks, okay? So you can save a significant amount of money in park tickets and Genie Plus by not going in a park. Plus, it's beneficial to have a day to take it easy, enjoy the amenities at your resort. You're still paying for your room and food, of course, but you don't have the added cost of going into the parks. That's harder to do for first-time visitors, Kate, we get that, but take a rest day. Your feet and your wallet will thank you when you look back at the vacation as a whole.
Absolutely. The resorts themselves, if you are staying on a Disney property resort, are so amazing. There's so much to do around these resorts. The pools, each resort has an epic pool, really. Lots of fun activities just wandering around them. And you can also just get on Disney transportation and go from resort to resort and check it out too. And that's a really free day right there too.
Yeah, 100%. It's fun to go on the monorail, go check out the monorail resorts just or get on the Skyliner, check out those resorts, dine at one of their restaurants. Like there's a lot going on at Disney. Absolutely. So with all that said, it's important to be mindful of a few things. So we're not suggesting that you apply every single one of these tips to your vacation, okay? If this is your first trip or your first trip in a long time, it's important to indulge a little bit and unwind and really enjoy your vacation. Cooking every meal, abstaining from any additional spending, it's not necessarily the best way to do your vacation. If that's what you want to do, we're not judging, more power to you, and that's why we're sharing these tips. Having said that, the sweet spot, like we said, is likely somewhere in the middle, where you'll use some of the tips to save money in certain aspects of your trip so that you can splurge in other respects. And in the end, that's likely the most sensible option and your best bet. Hopefully you got something out of today's tips and you'll be able to apply some of these to your vacations to save a bit of money.
Yes, 100%. We are all about saving money because we go to Disney often. So we hope that these tips can help you guys out as well.
Yep, absolutely. Having said that, thanks so much for joining us today to talk money saving tips.
If you haven't already, you can find us on Instagram at letsgo.todisney and the same handle on TikTok as well. You'll find more tips and Disney fun there.
Yeah, 100%. We're also on Facebook. Our page there is Let's Go to Disney. Also, if you're not subscribed to the podcast, we'd sure appreciate it if you took the time to do that. And if you can find the time to drop us a rating and review, it would be greatly appreciated. It helps us reach more listeners. And like we always say, that's why we started this, to help you have great vacations.
Absolutely. So we hope you have a great day and we're going to see you real soon.